Hi everyone, it's Ellie. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am so excited to share with you. It's going to be how I repair a broken nail. Now we've all broken nails before and been heartbroken to have to chop off all of the length that we've worked so hard on growing out, but I have a better way. I'll show you how I repair a nail without losing any length and restoring the strength and flexibility of your nail all in the process. So here's a close-up of my break. It hurt so bad. As you can see, it's broken down underneath the free edge of my nail. So this is really deep. It would really hurt badly to have to cut it off this short. So I'm not going to cut it. I'm not going to lose any length, and I'm going to fix it. And I'll show you how I do it step by step. One thing I really want to stress is you want to have all of these products on hand before you get a break. You don't want to have to be waiting for shipping or running all around town to get what you need. So when you get a break, you have everything you need and you can jump right into repair mode. So I will put a link in the down bar for all of the products that I'm showing today. The first here is by Super Nail. It's called the Swiss Silk Self-Adhesive Silk Wraps. And I like these because they're self-adhesive, and I will show you during the demonstration why I think that's really key. But this comes with 40. You're not going to need that many just for one patch, so I'm going to go ahead and cut one off, and I'll show you the process of how I prepare it for application. But these are very fragile while they're dry like this because they're made of silk, so you have to be really careful and treat them carefully when they're in this state. They really harden up once you put the resin on, but do be gentle when you're handling them dry like this. So since these are already self-adhesive, they do have a paper backing on which we will remove prior to application. The next product is from IBD. It's called the Brush On Gel Resin, and this is different from nail glue, and I'll kind of show you how it works, but I love this because you brush it on. The brush makes everything so much easier. Just trust me on this. It's a lot easier and easy to get a nice smooth application. So as far as tools, you're going to need a pair of tweezers. This will make your life so much easier. They don't need to be any particular kind or style, just whatever tweezers you have lying around. Next, you're going to need a 220 grit buffing block. I like this one because the 220 grit is nice and smooth, so it allows you to get a super smooth surface after you need to buff out your patch. Next, I have my crystal nail file by Sephora. I love this one because it's double-sided, so you can file on both sides. That's really nice. But it's also a high grit, so it's very gentle, very smooth, and it does the job without tearing up your natural nails. However, if you don't have a crystal file, you can use whatever nail file you have on hand. And next, I like to have my little cleanup dish here filled with straight acetone and my cleanup brush, just in case. You never know what kind of mess you're going to get into when you're doing a nail repair, so it's nice to have this on hand. So to get started, I am buffing out my nail. So I do this for a few reasons. One, to get the surface very smooth so that the patch attaches very well, and also that brush on gel resin really attaches to a little bit of a roughed up surface better than a nice smooth shiny surface. So I'm basically just taking the shine off of the surface of my nail all over and really focusing on the areas around my break to make sure that it's smooth and there aren't any rough edges. Also going around the tip of my nail as well, just making sure everything is nice and smooth and even before we get started. So after buffing, I am going to thoroughly clean off the surface of my nail with my acetone. So I do this, one, to get rid of the dust that all of that buffing created, and two, you want all of the natural oils off the surface of your nail so that that resin and the patch can really attach super nicely. If you have a pretty deep break, it might sting a little bit, so just grin and bear it because this will help your patch stay on a lot better. So next, I'm just holding up the silk wrap to my nail, kind of just to get an idea for how much I'm going to need to cut it down. And as you can see, one end is curved to kind of mimic the cuticle edge. I'm kind of playing around with the placement, but I think it does work better to have that curved edge around your nail. And you can definitely cut as small of a piece as you need if you have a very small patch. I'm doing my patch a little bit larger because I really want to toughen up that area around the break so that it stays strong. So I would recommend using really sharp scissors for this because these are kind of dull and they're not doing a great job of cutting, but I was able to make it work. But sharp scissors would definitely make it easier. So I'm just going to repeat this process of sizing it up and trimming it down as needed until I get the perfect size that I'm looking for. So So once you've cut it down to size, you're going to want to peel the silk wrap off of the paper backing, and again, be very gentle with this. Silk is absolutely very fine and it will tear so easily, so be gentle. So here's where that self-adhesive backing on the silk wrap comes in super handy. It would be really difficult with one hand to get this in place and kind of hold it where you want it. Having the adhesive on the back makes it really simple. So first I'm focusing on the area of the break. So I'm getting it right down into the sides of my nail, all the way down into the side walls, just making sure that I really cover up that break. You really want to make sure you completely cover it and aim to be a little bit larger with your patch than needed. You want that extra support there because your nail is weak from the break. So once you have it in place, you can start smoothing it down. So you want to make sure there's no gaps, no ridges, no air bubbles. Make sure you get good contact with your whole nail plate there. And now I'm just trimming off the excess with my scissors. Don't cut it too close. You want to have a little bit of room, so just give yourself a nice little trim, leaving a couple millimeters near the top to work with. And since the silk is so delicate, cutting it might have moved it around, so make sure to smooth it around again just to make sure it's really well stuck down. So this is what we have at this point. You can see it covers my nail from side to side really securely. I didn't go all the way to my cuticle, but pretty close. I didn't want a lot of glue up in my cuticle, but make sure it's smoothed down really well. I can't stress that enough. So now we're ready to put on the brush on resin. So you can really see why having a brush on is key here. Having a squeezy tube would be nearly impossible to get a nice even application like this. And just having that small amount of resin on the brush makes that silk wrap completely transparent. You can really see how thin it is, but the resin hardens up beautifully, very strong, and you don't need a really thick coat. Just thin coats is key. So I'm just going up again with small strokes just to make sure that that silk wrap is completely saturated in the resin. So now you're going to want to let it dry. Typically you're looking at 10 to 15 minutes to make sure it's completely hard and set up. Okay, so now we're all dry. You can kind of see near the tip where it got a little bit white and opaque. So that's when you know it's really set and you're ready to clip it down. Again, I'm leaving myself a little bit of space there because I'm going to be doing a little bit of filing at the tip. So don't cut it too close. You really do need that strength there. So I'm starting out with my nail file. I'm just kind of smoothing around the tip of the nail, making sure that that silk wrap is completely flush against the edge of my nail. After I'm done filing, I'm going to buff just to make sure that I have a seamless transition with the tip of my nail. So I'm not doing any surface buffing yet, I'm just working on the tip. We'll get all the surface nice and smooth at the end. So now I'm going in with my second coat of resin. So again, I'm just applying nice thin coats, making sure to completely saturate that area around the silk wrap. And also I'm going to ensure that I have wrapped the tip of my nail very thoroughly. So I'm going to flip my nail over and make sure I coat that entire free edge with the resin. Top, back, sidewalls, and bottom. You really want to double up on strength here. So the second coat of resin always takes longer than the first to dry, and you really don't want to rush this. Take your time and do a properly, very well done patch, and you will be able to wear it for a few weeks. So I'm going to let it dry, probably half an hour, just to be safe. So once you're all dry, it's time to start buffing. So I fast forwarded this, but I did about 5 minutes worth of buffing. It's really important to ensure a natural looking finish. Really want to buff it out. Make sure that it's a seamless transition up around the cuticle line and around the sidewalls and the tip. The more buffing you do, the more natural your patch will look, and not only just about looks, but it will make a nice strong patch that will hold your nail together for a long time. So once you're done buffing, don't reach for the acetone. You want to remove the dust by washing your hands. At this point, acetone is not your friend. Once the patch is set, acetone will dissolve it. So for every manicure change from here on out, you want to use a non-acetone remover. Only bring out the acetone if you're going to remove your patch. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. Here's the final manicure once I put on my base coat and 2 coats of polish and my top coat. So it's really hard to see that this was ever broken so severely. I think it looks natural, it blends in with all of the rest of my nails, and I didn't lose any length at all. So I'm thrilled with how this turned out. I hope you use these tips on your own next time you get a break. Don't worry, you don't need to cut your nails off so short that they would hurt you. Keep them long, keep them strong, and just repair them really well using these tips. So here's a still picture of the final repair. So you cannot even see that there was a patch there. It blends in. It looks so natural. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video and learned a lot. If you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel so you can see a lot more like it. And follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at peptalkdaily, and I'd love to interact with you there. So thank you again, and I will see you very soon. Bye.